Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Royal Sussex Live. Welcome, one and all. Thank you so much for being here. Okay. Um, mm-mm. She went there. That's all I can say is she went there. Boy, did she go there. Um, I can't stand her anyway. You know that, don't you? She works my last nerve, my last flipping nerves. Sorry about the language, but Tina Brown knows, really goes there. And I do believe that there is, well, in all likelihood, I'm sure it has maybe something to do with being very protective of the monarchy. And as I've said so often, I don't really understand that because I don't live that. But I feel like I'm very generous in that I don't begrudge the people who do live that. I get it. It's something that the British take pride in. There's even what they call the British exceptionalism, which is kind of like the American dream. You feel like it's very unique and that you just can't seem to get it anyplace else. And especially at a time like this when the world is suddenly becoming a greater melting pot, and because I would say our the inflation is high, right? And so we're kind of like turning toward our own countries rather than looking away from our own countries. I get it, and Tina is through and through a monarchist and such, and so she has an in for Meghan. And then, of course, if you have it in for Meghan, then that usually means that even if you've known and loved Harry your whole life, then suddenly you are obliged to turn against him. And so many of these tabloid journalists, and I do consider her tabloid, I really do. Um, there was a time when she was very respected as a journalist, but um, I don't think so anymore. She has a Substack and she wants to draw people to her Substack. This is part of her post Vanity Fair life. She wants to pull people toward her Substack, just as Tom Sykes. He was not as vicious when he was just doing the Newsweek, but now that he has a Substack, he too has become rather vicious. I mean, I am proud of myself for not giving that man the time of day. I uh, watched his little podcast and I hoped that he would show an even hand or fairness or objectivity of some sort, impartiality. There seems to be none to be found, not from him. And he's invited guests on that have contradicted a lot of the things that he said, and he will tolerate them. And then, of course, he will lose some of his audience, but he knows how to get them back. So I guess you could say, since a lot of these journalists or so called journalists, since they are branching off independently, since in some cases they have become kind of a one man show, or they might actually have someone to help them produce their podcast. But since they have become smaller in terms of their reach, they want their numbers to grow so they can get that big Candace Owens money, right? As they say, today Candace Owens is the biggest thing in podcasting, and they want that Candace Owens money. They and of course everybody would love to what is his name? Joe Rogan. Everybody would love to have that Joe Rogan kind of money. And I don't think that Tina Brown is any exception to that. And so every so often she'll throw some of these little nuggets out there for our consumption. And one of her favorite targets seems to be Meghan. And to a lesser extent, I always have to say that, to a lesser extent, Harry. I even watched the podcast she was on when she said this thing about Archie. I even watched that. And I wasn't even sure I was on the right podcast because I was like, okay, where is it? Where is it? Well, eventually we got there. And I would play the sound for you, but unfortunately, I did not mark the timestamp for said comment. Um, so I don't have that to share with you. But I'll do the best I can to get you up to date. Hello, Antoinette Kennedy, Beverly McCaskill, Mina Ruth, Gwendolyn Daniels, Miss Z, Connie Balmer. By the way, Connie Balmer, I have just been sitting here chomping on one of those things you sent me, the pistachio. Yes, the dark chocolate pistachio and I think it's sea salt. Oh my goodness, that is so good. Thank you so much for that. Let's see. Well, I'll just say hi to the rest of you as I go along. All right, well then let's get into it, shall we? In the meantime, take a look here. St. Regis World Snow Polo Championship. Where is Harry? Wow, there's someone named Baron Diavella. Diavella. Huh, interesting. Well, I don't see Harry there, but or is those the team captains' names? Anyway, St. Regis World Snow Polo Championship day one results. So remember, this was a 2-day event. Now, I don't know if that means Harry was going to be there for the entirety of the second day or part of the second day. I'm not sure. I believe I heard somewhere that Harry wasn't even supposed to be there. That he went skiing and then someone didn't show up. And then it was just like, well, there's Harry. I think I have that right. Anyway, so I just have a few photos from yesterday to share with you. Harry looking courageous and athletic, and dare I say, looking like some kind of face of a fragrance or some type of brand of or whatever. Which you know what? Do we have to wait? Must we wait, Harry? Must we wait? We know what you look like in an Armani suit. Why are we waiting? Why are we? You know what I'm saying? Go and get your brand deal. Go get your brand deal. We're waiting for it. And of course, Harry mounted on a horse, uh, polo club in hand. Yes, there's nothing like Harry and a polo pony. And that red dot you see right there, I do believe that is the ball. Yeah, that is the ball. What do they call it? It's a okay. He has his polo mallet. It's a mallet, and the red thing is. Do they call it a ball or what? Not a puck. Well, anyway, that's it right there. So good on you, Harry. Good on you. I'm sorry. What am I missing here? Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Juliet Holder Fowler. I'm so sorry to hear that. I'm so sorry to hear that. Wow. Yeah. Oh my goodness. I am going to definitely keep you and your family in my prayers. I am so sorry for your loss. Wow. Well, and as always, thank you for sharing that with us. And definitely do know that your Squatty family is with you. We're always going to be with you. Wow. I'm very sorry to hear that. Yeah, I was sitting here looking, and I was seeing this, and I'm just like, what did I miss? What did I miss? Well, anyway, do stay in touch with us, please. And if you need to take some time away, or if you need to be with us, that is, of course, your choice. But I'm glad that you see this as a safe space where you can share that with the group. I really am glad that you shared that with us. Oh, thank you for that, Missy. Okay. My sincere condolences to you. Thank you very much for sharing that. Sandra. Hey, Sandra. Thank you so much for that. Oh yeah, definitely. We listen, we are with you. We're with you. We carry everyone in our prayers around here. Thank you, Antoinette. Let's see. Harry's team won second place. Figaro and his two son team won first place. Harry played both days. Okay. I didn't see as many photos for day two. Oh, they were bidding for picks. But wait a minute. Okay. I won't say right now, but I'll tell you guys as I go along why I am loving Harry's appearance right now. I think you know why, but I'm going to tell you in a minute why I am loving Harry's opinion. And by the way, I am loving 44 months of membership. 44 months of membership. Wow, that is a long time. That is a long time. You have been carrying this service for some years now. So thank you so much for that. Cheers. Hey Legs, thank you for joining us. Uh, Legs, we had a loss in our community. You can see the comments. Um, Hazel Jones is here. Hey Hazel Jones. Oh, I see you right there. Thank you so much for that. Okay. I just got a few more of these from, you know what? Let me just take a look at something because I want to just make sure. I didn't really get a chance to go to all of my sources today. Oh, I think I'll share this with you guys later. I'll share that one with you later. Do they give the answer? Only 1 in 100 can solve this? Okay. But you all are pretty sharp, so um okay. Yeah, I'm gonna save that one for later. So give me just a second to take a look and see if I am missing anything. Okay, yeah, this is nothing I can't share with you. later on. But and you say that was Nacho and his two sons. I did see yesterday that there were three Fagareses playing. I did see that yesterday. Okay, I think I'm kind of caught up with images. I don't think there were. Blah, excuse me. I'm so sorry. Let me drink some water. I don't think there were as many photos today as there were yesterday. So I think we are pretty caught up. And then maybe somewhere later, just for fun, when I'm done with everything I planned, maybe we'll go through some of those photos again from yesterday with Harry. But and that's if you feel like hanging around later. Okay. Carolyn Baker says, actually, words do matter. The numbers. Oh, I see. I'm actually words do matter. You know what? I never noticed that. Okay, but why would I? I mean, right? I probably was thinking it was two different accounts. Well, okay. Thank you so much for that. Um, and thank you for the super chat. All right. So I'm expecting this to be controversial tomorrow. Prince Harry seems to enjoy these stars and stripes. I am waiting for that to be a thing. Yes, Prince Harry with the stars and stripes. I am waiting for that to be an issue. You know that that will give them something to go on about all weekend. How Harry seems to have lost the mark or whatever they call it. But we'll see what happens. They always find something to complain about. But you know what? He does look kind of all American, doesn't he? He looks he looks like a typical American. I mean, this country is a melting pot, and there's lots of people that look just like Harry that were born here. We have our share of redheads per capita, not nearly as many as you might find in, say, Scotland or Ireland, and of course parts of England and such. But we have our share. We have our share. Huh? Let me see, just for fun, if I can grab another. Just for fun, let me see if I can grab another image of Harry with the stars and stripes. Oh yeah, this one is fun. This one is fun. Love this one. Are you ready for it? Are you ready for it? Look, look, look. Check it out. Huh? Huh? Right? Oh, he's ready, y'all. He's ready. He's ready. You know what? He will be morbidly obese before you know it. He will have high cholesterol. Um, what else do we usually have here in the U.S.? High cholesterol. Well, he won't be morbidly obese, but he'll put on a few pounds. High cholesterol, and what else are we known for? Um, well, he's already litigious, so that he's on board with. He was, litigious from the start, so that's nothing we have to teach him. But of course, the United States has the most litigious society in the world. I always say, if there's a class action suit, I want to be in it. It is an American pastime sitting around waiting for a class action suit to settle. And then all of a sudden, you get this surprise check in the mail like, oh, I don't remember that. Oh, I do remember. Right? I mean, give me some flowers, anyone who's ever settled a class action suit. I want to say in my lifetime, I've had just a handful. I'm I'm so American. I am so American. Let's see. Actually, words do matter. I did that already, right? Sorry about that. Okay. Lex says optical illusion. He isn't holding the flag. No, I didn't realize that. Okay, so he must be holding his polo club. Oh, got it. Thank you. And let's see, what else do you say here? They will spin it, but it shouldn't matter if he did. Of course not. Thank you again for the super chat. Let me take a look at that again. Oh, no, not that. This one. Are you sure it looks so? Okay, that is a polo club. Well, then where is the flag coming from? Anyway, I'm loving it. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. Welcome, Harry. I'm sorry, light skinned Harry. Welcome, light skinned Harry. You're one of us now. Plus, he's a property owner, he's a taxpayer. He has created, what do you call it? Employment. He's an employer. American bloodline. Well, oh, is that right? I didn't realize that. Oh, okay. Well, thank you for that. And he did train in California, right? As an Apache helicopter pilot. So, yeah. Yeah, he's one of us. His kids are half American, among other things. To make him feel unwanted in the UK would have a problem with him embracing the US, a country that embraced him. They want him alone and isolated and all that. Of course they do. Well, optical illusion or not, I'm digging it. But thank you for that. And of course, here is yet another of Harry and his real brother, Nacho. Yeah, his real brother, not that heretic, not the heretic of Forest Lodge. All right, so let's get into this then. Prince Harry slams claim he called Prince Archie my little African child in conversation with Jane Goodall. Journalist Tina Brown made the claim during an interview with Katie Couric. And again, I've seen the interview, and it was, oh man. Okay, let me get to the article. So, Prince Harry's spokesperson denies that he introduced Jane Goodall to his son Prince Archie as my little African child, as claimed by journalist Tina Brown. Brown, a former editor-in-chief of Tatler, Vanity Fair, and The New Yorker, made the statement during an interview on Katie Couric's YouTube show, claiming that it came up during a lunch with Goodall, who died in October. Jane Goodall, before she died, this is her quote, Jane Goodall and I, before she died, had a lunch. I had a lunch with her, and she said that she went to see, she was one of the only people outside of the family that went to see Archie when he was born. Brown said, and Harry said, this is my little African child. It's going to be my child who, wild child. Essentially, they were going to have this time together, living a life off the grid As it were, she continued, she said she was absolutely stunned when he chose the life that he did. So that is the quote from Tina Brown. It's going to be my wild child, who, wild child, essentially, they were going to have this time together, living life off grid as if it were, she continued. He said he was absolutely, I'm sorry, she said she was absolutely stunned when he chose the life that he did. Mm. Oy vey. A spokesperson for the Duke of Sussex denied the claim, saying in a statement to People, the Duke of Sussex has never said anything remotely resembling what is being claimed. Tina Brown knows exactly what she's doing by inventing these words and attributing them to a highly respected woman who is deceased and unable to correct the words. Wow, is that the quote from Harry's spokesperson? You know what? I forgot that lady's name, but I like her. I like her. She's kind of feisty, ain't she? In a statement to People on December 18th, Brown said she misstated the wording of the phrase during her interview. She misstated the phrase during the interview. Mm-hmm. Um, like they say, she know what she doing. Let me see here. They will spin it, but it shouldn't matter if Harry did. Cheers. Thank you so much for that, Legs. I just could not imagine Harry saying something like that. I could not imagine. And I'm going to tell you why I believe that it smacks of 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 made up. It just it reeks of, I'm trying to avoid saying a lie, but it sounds like a lie to me. It does. It sounds like a lie. I am going to allege somebody's lying. Harry has done so much work to escape being branded the wild child. Harry has done so much work to separate himself from this title that was heaved upon him by the tabloid media, the party prince and such. And as such, why would someone who's worked this hard to get away from that branding by the tabloid media, why would someone working that hard to prove themselves as a huge global influencer, someone who is respected by heads of state and captains of industry? Why would someone like that refer to their child as wild? Why would they do that? Harry is raising a gentleman. He's raising someone to carry on his title in the future. So why would he do that? The answer is he didn't. He did not do that. He did not say that. He didn't say anything remotely similar to that. So where she got that from, I don't know. It all sounds made up to me. I'm just trying to think to myself, does that sound like Harry? Has Harry said anything in the past 15 years that sounds remotely similar to that? I don't think so. I don't know that he's referred to himself in such a way. I know that he's mentioned other people have branded him wild, unpredictable, But I really, really doubt that he would refer to his child in those ways. I don't believe it. I do not believe it. On Katie Couric's podcast yesterday, Wednesdays, the 17th of December, I recounted what Jane Goodall said to me in June of this year about Prince Harry. She remembered affectionately Harry saying when Archie was born, I want you to come and meet my African child. She actually said Africa child, but I was speaking too quickly. Aside from the inadvertent mistake, everything else, Miss Goodall's conversation with me, I rendered accurately, she said. So from June, she's sure that she's accurately recounted Jane Goodall's quote from Prince Harry, and that Jane Goodall and Harry, who were close friends, we know as close as they could be, that Harry shocked her by referring to his child in whatever way. Okay. The initial claim came up as Brown and Couric discussed Prince Harry and Meghan stepping back from their royal role in 2020 and relocating to her home state of California. I'm told that the Queen thought Harry would go off and want to be out of the royal family, Brown said. But they all thought that he would do something like they all expected him to kind of go to Africa and become a person who focused on conservation of animals in Africa and live a kind of off the grid life, is what they all thought. Nobody expected him to go to Montecito and live the opposite of the off the grid life, which is the kind of celebrity life. I don't think that Harry thought it was going to do, I don't think he thought he was going to do that either. Prince Harry and Goodall met in December of 2018 when he invited her to Kensington Palace to discuss their shared concerns for the environment and remain close after. Listen, you guys, I'm going to try to figure out where Tina Brown got this off grid thing from. It was Harry who said that he wanted to be a park ranger in Africa. Was it not? Wasn't that Harry's words? That wasn't what somebody thought that Harry would do. That's what Harry said he thought he would do. So it's not that the royal family thought that. Do you imagine that Queen Elizabeth with Charles, her son, Andrew, her son, William, her lazy, good for nothing grandson, and her disinterested in anything, lazy, good for nothing granddaughter in law? Do you think that Queen Elizabeth would have entertained the idea of Harry spending the rest of his life in Africa working as a park ranger? I think she would have done everything in the world to discourage him from doing that. She would have made every accommodation possible to keep him within the fold so that there would be a popular, organically comfortable with people royal to be there while she was gone, once she was gone. I don't believe it. I don't believe Queen Elizabeth thought that Harry would go and live off grid. I don't think that Queen Elizabeth would have ever imagined it, nor would she allowed it, as far as I'm concerned, because there's one thing we know for certain. Harry's intention was to serve his grandmother, even though he said that he wished that he could go to Africa. and live with the animals and such, he knew that his place was there serving his grandmother. And he wanted a partner by his side so that he could stand shoulder to shoulder with his brother and his wife serving the crown. That is what he said. Not word for word, but that was his intention. Harry didn't know. How about Tina Brown say Harry didn't know that he would be coerced and harassed and bullied out of the country? That's what nobody expected. We didn't expect him to be bullied out of the country. So never mind he lives in Montecito. Never mind that he is earning a living. He has a mortgage. He actually has a car that is titled to him. He has a mother-in-law with dreads and a nose ring that makes gumbo. God, these people, where do they get it from? Where do they get it from? They just pull it out of air, out of thin air. They just pull it out of air and they just say it. Don't they? Tina Brown. Leg says, was she there? How would she know? Lying biscuit eater. Yeah, lying biscotti eater. Thank you, Lex. And let's see here. Two people were there, and she wasn't one of them. Liar. Thank you again. And Ms. Z says, Katie Couric again. Why is Katie Couric always involved in these strange Sussex slanders? Thank you very much, Ms. Z. And Leg says, why do people expect them not to live their own lives? Thank you. Now, I did watch the podcast. Katie Couric, it called her out in ever so subtle way. And when I say she called her out, let me explain to you what I mean by that. Katie Couric said to her, I know that you don't care for, I think she said that you don't care for, you don't like Meghan. And she said that she couldn't understand why Meghan has become such a polarizing person, which was not a slight to Meghan, but just, of course, and I'm uncomfortable with the word polarizing, but she meant it in that it, it's another way of saying people are forced to choose Coke or Pepsi type of thing. Katie Couric likes Meghan, right? But Katie Couric asked her about their post royal life. And Tina Brown, as you know, always has a lot to say. And so that's when she, went there. But Katie Couric made sure that the listener knew that there was a level of bias coming from Tina Brown. And of course, Tina Brown didn't go so hot and heavy on on Meghan, although she did say that she was prone to making a lot of mistakes. And then, of course, what really lets me know that Tina Brown is very, very biased is that she said, well, just look at how many people that has come and gone from how many aides or whatever she has had since she left the royal family, which if she was doing justice to Meghan, If she was doing right by Meghan, she would just say, hey, these people, as a matter of fact, she wouldn't have brought it up in the first place. But again, she knew what she was doing. So it wasn't just that comment. I would encourage you to watch Katie Couric's podcast. It's on YouTube. I would encourage you to watch it for yourself. Seriously, I'd encourage you to watch it for yourself. Um, but Tina Brown has it in for Meghan, and Katie Couric made sure that there was no confusion about the fact that she doesn't like Meghan, and that's that. As a matter of fact, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to see if I can just find that bit where she talks about Meghan. Is that okay? I know it's going to take a minute to do it. It was like about an hour-long podcast, but I literally was listening to it while I was prepping, and I think you'll be better served hearing it for yourself. So give me just a second to do that. I don't think it should be.
Hi, everyone. We're just starting.
It shouldn't be too much trouble, but let me see what I can do. Yeah, but she doesn't have it where
with working with people. There's no doubt. I mean, she's been through so many people since she was in Montecito, let alone.
Oh, I was right there, wasn't I? You know, that was the first place I went.
In that sense. Appalling aftermath of the Diana tragedy, hounded and by the press and every butler and servant writing a book and all of that. So what they had was a bond which is like, I can trust you, you can trust me. And then of all people to betray William, of all the people to write a book that was like full of horribly painful revelation, it was Harry. I think for William, it was like just a taboo for him that he broke, that I think he really shattered him, actually. I think he found it a very shatteringly, personally painful thing that he went through. And, on top of everything else of just sort of Harry just kind of like splitting off to the sunshine and all the rest of it. I mean, I think for William, it's just too much, to handle. And whether or not he will ever sort of look back and say, well, let bygones be bygones, I don't know. I mean, William is he's a very
by the book guy.
Yeah, he's a by the book guy. He's not a guy he's by the book. He doesn't forgive easily. If you get on the wrong side of William, you can expect to stay there, is what I hear. And so I don't know. I think Harry just wants to mend the fence with his father. I think he's kind of given up on his brother, but
and what about that? Do you see that happening?
I do, actually, in the personal sense, but I don't really see it happening in the sense that his father will turn around and say, now welcome back and start doing all these royal appearances. I think his father cares too much about the monarchy himself. He's not an admirer of Harry's abandonment of his duty. I think he'll always love him as a son, but I think that he cares enough about the institution to think it's going to go wrong, again. So I would be very surprised if he does come back into the fold in that sense.
And what do you make of Meghan Markle and Harry's life in Montecito, and what do you see happening with that? I'm always so fascinated. And Tina, I think you're in the category of not really being a fan of Meghan Markle, but I am so fascinated by how polarizing she is.
As you can see, Katie Couric made it very clear. I know you don't like Meghan.
People really defend her and like her. And then, I mean, the level of vitriol that is expressed against her on social media, I don't know. I mean, people seem so invested in, really disliking her or invested in coming to her aid. And it's so weird to me.
Yes, well, she has been so demonized at this point that it's excessive, I think. I mean, she does make a lot of mistakes, unfortunately. And I think obviously there's an anger that she sort of came into the family and sort of, it seems people will say, sort of pull it apart. I think she does have difficulty with working with people. There's no doubt. I mean, she's been through so many people since she was in Montecito, let alone in part of the royal family. But actually, the idea that she kind of broke up the family, I think is wrong. I believe that Harry was looking to get out. I mean, in some ways, she was his vehicle essentially for getting out. And
you think he would have wanted to do this even if he had never met Meghan Markle?
I think he wanted to get out for sure. I mean, I'm told that the Queen always thought that Harry would go off and want to be out of the royal family, but they all thought that he would do something like, they all expected him to kind of go to Africa, and sort of become a person, who, focused on conservation of animals in Africa and lived a kind of off the grid life, is what they all thought. Nobody expected him to go to Montecito and live the opposite of the off the grid life, which is the kind of celebrity life. And I don't think that Harry thought he was going to do that either. I think that he, in fact, Jane Goodall, before she died, I had a lunch with her, and she said that she went to see, she was one of the only people outside the family that went to see Archie when he was born. And Harry said, "This is my little African child. It's going to be my child who, essentially we're going, wild child. Essentially, they were going to have this time together, sort of living a life off the grid, as it were." And she said she was absolutely stunned when, he chose the life that he did. So that's the anomalous part. And I suspect that if you ask Harry where he'd rather be, I bet he'd rather be really living that kind of life, actually. But, he fell in love with a woman who didn't want that at all. So I think that also has its poignant side.
Interesting. Well, I can't talk to you, Tina, without kind of looking back at the year in media.
Okay. So there you have it. I put the link up there at the top. It was not a vigorous defense of Meghan. I don't think that Katie Couric meant to for it to be a vigorous defense, but I'm glad she did in a very mild but yet firm way. We know you don't like her. Also, I want to point out that I don't know where anyone could have possibly conceived of the idea that Harry would live off the grid. Harry would be a curiosity whenever or wherever he goes. And he knows that there would be no living off the grid, especially as he expected to be in service of the crown. Harry had already established the Invictus games before he left the UK. He had already established Centibale before he left the UK. He'd already established the Travelers before he left the UK. Not to forget his long-term relationship with Scotty's Little Soldiers and the Whale Child. So that's not someone who was trying to separate themselves from the only life that they've known. And Harry has not separated himself from the only life that he's known. Harry is still doing his philanthropy and he is still doing his humanitarian work. The only thing that is different is that he doesn't have to worry about what Willie thinks. He doesn't have to worry about what Pa thinks. He doesn't have to look over his shoulder at Camilla. He doesn't have to try to welcome Kate to the family. He doesn't have to do any of those things. He has a family of his own. He has a mortgage. He's a taxpayer, a real taxpayer. He's not able to hide behind inheritance tax or hide away from it. Let's see. Lex says, why do people expect them not to live their own lives? Thank you. And let's see, we didn't expect him to be financially independent. Exactly. They were not expecting Harry to make it. They just didn't think he'd make it. And Harlan Baker says, y'all know Willie Leaks, useful idiot, is quoting him. He wants Harry to disappear and is threatening to go after Archie. He is mad Harry's playing polo overshadowed his AI Christmas card. Thank you. I was going to get to that. Exactly. So this thing that obviously is a vehicle for Tina Brown's Substack, because she is on Substack now. This is a vehicle for her, and we all know that if you just, what is that thing I used to say? Harry and Meghan, they are like oh, let me see. Diana, Philip, Queen Elizabeth II, and now Jane Goodall. Dead talk a lot. Yeah. Thank you, Legs. That is a great point. That is a great point. Yeah. Well, uh I could think of several reasons why what Tina Brown is saying makes little or no sense. Several reasons, all of which I just stated, and I'm sure I can add some more if I have to. But it just was not in the cards for Harry to go and live off the grid. I think that is the most ridiculous thing. She's actually quoting Harry. That's what makes this so irritating to me. She is quoting Harry. Harry mentioned that if I wasn't a member of the family, if I could do what I wanted to do, and then he completely dismissed what he said because he knows that he is going to be in service to the crown for the rest of his life, that he is going to use his platform to help other people. So if Harry said that in an interview, and I wish I could tell you exactly what interview it was, but I do recall him saying the living as a park ranger and such, but then he said that that is not possible. One of the reasons why William is so unavailable is because someday he's going to be king, right? So William decided, well, I'm not going to go to this particular thing because, after all, someday I'll be king. Right now, I don't have to, so I'm not going to. And then there's been several occasions where William had things on the calendar that he just didn't go, right? Like the BAFTA Awards, like the D-Day thing. He just didn't go. Now, if I was to get into William's head, first of all, I would find something about the size of a walnut. I don't think he has much of a brain. I think everything else is spinal fluid, but most of it is spinal fluid, and there's just like a little walnut floating around in all of that muck and mire, right? Okay. So I get it. I get it. It's like starting a diet on Monday. I'm going to eat what I want to this weekend because starting New Year's Day, you know what I'm saying? So I believe that William expects that when he's king, he is really going to, tuck into his future and that he's going to be a better person. Remember, I said that a couple of times in the past month that William, if I were to get in his head, William thinks he can blow this stuff off now. And when he becomes king, just like when a guy is cheating on his girlfriend, well, if she just marry me, then I'll stop. And of course, I'm using this as a metaphor. I'm not saying that it has anything to do with William. At least I don't think so. Okay. And so then after they get married, well, I want to start a family. And if my wife will just let me have a child, if she'll give me a child, then I'll stop cheating. All right, they have a baby. And still, well, it's still happening. It's just one of those things where people want to put it off until the future, until they're in a different place. Like if I could just move to another neighborhood, I'll do more walking. I'll go to the gym. I'll those kind of things. And I do believe that that's William's approach to the monarchy. But in the meantime, they could depend on good old Harry. Harry will go here. Harry will go there. Harry will do it. And so all along, Harry is building up all of these relationships with some very well-known people, some very powerful people. And here comes Willie, Johnny come lately. And you know what? I bet you this whole global, what was that? What is it? Global statesman thing. I bet you that wasn't even William's idea. Someone within Kensington Palace was like, listen, stupid, you ain't done nothing. You don't know anybody. Harry is going to all these places and look at how well he's received. It's time for you to go into your global statesman era. But yet, Tina's words does not give Harry any credit for the hard work that he's done. There's no way that there's a future for Archie as a wild child. Harry has learned quickly that when you have an African American child, a child of African American descent, it doesn't take a genius to know that that child will have to spend the rest of their lives learning to run faster, to jump higher, and always argue the best case. In other words, Archie and Lily, they're going to have to be little Barack or little Michelle. They don't have a choice because there's a world that will be expecting the worst from them. And that's just the way it is. Yeah, thank you. It took me all those words to say exactly what you just said. Moving the goalposts. Yeah, black children don't get to be just children. They are adultified early. Well said. Why should Katie and Tina be discussing Harry? These are gossipy old women trying to inject relevancy into their stale lives. Leave the Sussexes alone already. Yeah, well, Katie has her show and Tina has her Substack. That's what it really boils down to. If you want to bring eyes to your Substack, if you want to bring eyes to your podcast, it's so easy. Just start in on the Sussexes. That's all it takes. Now, the side effect is once you bring up Harry and Meghan, then everybody knows that it leads to a deformity. See what I mean? It causes deformities when you are dependent on Harry and Meghan to build your audience. So if she don't mind walking around with a 12-inch nose, then fine. But still, leave them alone. They're not bothering anybody. They're minding their business. I mean, she's not a stupid woman. She's not stupid. She's not so ignorant to believe that there was some kind of future for Harry living in the bush somewhere, like he was going to be Swiss Family Robinson or something like that, right? Swiss Family Sussex. There's Harry wearing a loincloth. There's Meghan wearing a loincloth. And there's the children running around naked, wrestling alligators and punching rhinos in the nose. Is that what they thought? That Harry was going to take his son and live his dream of being a park ranger? As hard as Harry has been fighting for royal protection, right? What is the reality of it? Well, what makes sense? That's what I'm saying. What makes sense? What sounds reasonable? And to get there, we have to go through a very unreasonable person, and that's Tina Brown. Let me see. Hey, cookies and cream. Let me see. Notice that she didn't give any number or reason. Vague terms because she doesn't know anything and pretends. Well, remember she said she had the last lunch with Princess Diana just before the, thing in Paris. So throwing someone's name in there like Princess Diana or Queen Elizabeth, we shouldn't be surprised that, she would go to Jane Goodall. This is just another person that is not here to speak for themselves. Yes, this is about making William the victim. I don't want to lose sight of that she did say that William was so hurt by Harry's book. Never mind the hurt that William has caused Harry, right? Never mind Kensington Palace leaking and briefing, and of course, the unborn child that Harry had to bury himself. Let's just forget about that. None of those people in the tabloid media will ever admit that harassing a pregnant woman, harassing her out of the country, harassing her 5,000 miles away, they will never admit that it may have cost an unborn child. They always say, oh, Harry's had to give up so much. Well, what about what Meghan has given up? Meghan's not a charity case. She was a full, complete, independent, financially independent person before she met Harry. They love to say, well, Harry gave up stuff he didn't want in the first place. Harry gave up things that he was born into. He wasn't giving up something like, oh, I've worked so hard for this. It's so sad that they've taken this away from me. He ran from it because his only chance of happiness was in the balance. A wife, children. So he ran. For the sake of his family, he left. But they never tell that story. They'll say, well, the press was very brutal. The press was kind of hard. No, the press was vicious. And his family fed them to the wolves. Fed them to the wolves. Tell it like it is. Tell the truth. Instead of picking and choosing, they'll say one little thing and then it's right back to, Meghan has gone through a lot of staff since they left. So what? These were people that were contracted for particular projects. And so it's ridiculous to compare the Sussex staff to people who are generation 3, 4, 5 working for the royal family. People who were referred because their parent is in government. These aren't Nepo babies. These are people that were hired because of merit. They were hired for individual tasks. They were contracted. And when their contract was up, they done what they were supposed to do. They left. Tina Brown has been in the U.S. long enough to know how these things work. She's probably hired people herself as an editor, very much the same way. And yet, she's pretending to not know the difference. She's pretending that Meghan is such a terrible person that she chases everybody away. That's perpetuating a lie that was fed to them by Kensington Palace. That's what that is. And I'm just sick of it. Do you hear me? Sick! I'm sick of it. Now, happy birthday, Marcy Foreman. I'm grateful to be here. Merry Christmas to you all. Well, Merry Christmas to you too, Marcy Foreman. And you know what? It has been so heated. I think we all need some salsa. Thank you so much. So, without any further ado, let's put on our dancing shoes, shall we? I want to put on my dancing shoes and boogie with you. Hey, I'm gonna put on my boogie shoes and boogie with you. Girl, to be with you is my favorite thing. Hey. Okay. Ready? Here we go. All right. Happy birthday and many happy returns of the day. Okay, you guys, please don't forget to hit the like button. And also, if you haven't started a membership with Royal Sussex, memberships with Royal Sussex is only $4.99. For that price, that's the same as the price of a cup of coffee nowadays. There's places where you can buy a cup of black coffee, not those specialty drinks, for $4.99. And so I'm just simply asking you to give up the price of a cup of coffee once a month to help make Royal Sussex possible. And that includes things like the maintenance on my computer, buying accessories, getting apps, and of course, software that's needed to make this possible. All of that goes to help support this channel, not to mention the sweat equity that goes into this. Um, by the way, I actually made that slide myself. That is a lot of cutting and pasting. That is not just a simple software that did that. I mostly make those slides myself, layering images and such, a lot like Cold War Steve. So, and it takes time. Just so you know, I work very hard at this, but I also enjoy it very much. Let's see. Baron Harry did say that he can't fully get out of the monarchy. He knows his family and the Rhoda wouldn't allow it, but him coming to America with his American wife has ensured he'll never return there. Hear, hear. And I hope that's exactly what it means. And I just, it really hurts me to hear them say how much Harry has had to give up for the sake of Meghan. So what if he did? She's worth it. But she's given up a lot. Whatever relationship that she had with her father, that's gone. That's gone. She has lost her father to the tabloid media. Her mother has been harassed, and they are spending a king's ransom just for security. They have to. Uh, Feigning ignorance is something that the tabloid media is very good at. They pretend to not know any better. Oh, Harry always looks so uncomfortable when he's with Meghan. Yes, there are people threatening to hurt his wife. So when he's with his wife, he turns into Secret Service agent, Royal Protection Officer Harry. He doesn't care about himself, he cares about his wife. And whatever they say, Meghan is the best thing that ever could have happened to him. Meghan has so much more strength than I think that we could even measure, because there's nothing in this world that would make a person stay unless they truly loved their partner. Nothing. The way that they look at each other, come on, you couldn't make that up. And you rarely hear the tabloid media challenging their affection for each other. Rarely. Now, you'll have some screwballs that'll say, well, it's going to end in tears and all that kind of stuff. Most of them don't believe that. Most of them don't even say it. They wish they had it. They wish they had it. Whatever that is, they wish they had it. They don't challenge it. They don't doubt it because they wish they had it.
My wife.
My wife.
My wife.
My wife and I.
My wife and I. My wife and I. My wife and I.
For me and my wife.
Me and my wife. I'm so proud of my wife.
And my incredible wife.
An amazing wife.
The soulmate in my wife.
Thank you, my love. The mother to my children. The love of my life.
And what I know about the two of them, and I wish the world knew how much they love these two people love each other. They found each other out of all these odds against them finding each other, they found each other, and the love that they have is really, really moving. And I just wanted to do anything I could to support them.
Isn't that funny? Sometimes you know when you meet someone.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you can see like what love is, and
Right.
you can tell right away.
Yeah, yeah. And if I don't have that, what she and Harry have, I don't want it.
And you know what? That's it. That's it. That is why so many people are available to them. Not only that they're nice people, right? And that they're genuine people, but there's someone inside of all of us. There's someone inside of all of us that believes in love, that believes in the Hollywood happy ending and such. Something that keeps us watching those kind of movies, right? That's why those movies are so successful. And now you have the very embodiment of the rom-com, the romantic comedy. You have the embodiment of that. You have the best example of that. Real world, Harry and Meghan. And people gravitate toward them because of it. So to try to create all this doubt about their character, I guess that's all they really have, because what they have for each other, they haven't figured out a way to dismiss that. So they'd rather just attack their character and try to make it sound like they are cruel to everyone around them and all that kind of nonsense. Lex says, Meghan gave up her job, independence, sanity, self for Harry. Yes, absolutely. She gave up a lot. But when you believe in someone, especially when you believe in your partner, and you could see a level of humanity that no one else has picked up on, it goes a long way. And I tell you too, life has taught me that when you believe in someone, they can do so much more because they have someone that believes in them. They can do some extraordinary things because someone can see them and believe in them. And that makes a huge difference. And if you felt that in your life, give me an amen. Okay, so this is let me see. Harry Pox told what is that? What is Pox? Is that does that mean representative or whatever? Told Newsweek the Duke of Sussex has never said anything remotely resembling what is being claimed. Tina Brown knows exactly what she's doing by inventing these words and attributing them to a highly respected woman who is deceased and unable to correct the record. Spokesperson. Oh, that's what it means, spokesperson. Thank you. Oh, I never saw that before, spokesperson. All right. Now, Christmas card gate. How long is Kate's left arm? Now, on a good day, I can tell you that Kate has very long arms. Kate's arms are abnormally long, and her hands are turned in a direction that does not seem normal. However, when you look at this picture, it seems as not only does her arm actually seem as long as her whole body, but given the direction of her hand, she also seems double jointed. I mean, is Prince George sitting there, or is he a in another picture somewhere, and then he was just put in place, or what's happening here? And notice that they're trying to do the um, Last Supper. You know how they have the image triangulated, how they have the Last Supper image. Now that's what they're doing here. A very gappy Christmas. Gappy? What does that mean? Gap year? Gap tooth? Are they referring to Louis' missing teeth or something? And then, of course, there's William with that usual shit-eating grin. And then, of course, there's Charlotte trying to avoid those whiskers that she can't stand. I mean, poor Charlotte. One day you see your father cleanly shaven, and then by the time he returns from his other residence, he looks like a hobo. Now, let's see here. Okay, let's go back and look at that. The way Kate's hair is laying on his shoulder seems a bit sus. You know what? I'm gonna take a look at that picture. I want to zoom into it to see what looks weird about that. It does look a bit sus, doesn't it? I saw this like before I went to bed. Kate's hair. Well, I'm not sure. And then what's going on down there at the foot? What is going on down there at the foot? Oh, Lord. I'm going to have to go and find another photo that's complete. I tell you, they didn't really got on my nerves with this. Okay, give me just a second. I want to take a good look at that Christmas picture. Oh, you know what? All I need to do is go to their, let me see. Go to Kensington Royal and take a look at it. Okay, I am going to zoom in because I want to see what's happening in that other red circle at the bottom. And I'll, let's see, Willie and the kid. Oh, okay. Thank you for your comment. Yes, what is that? Okay, I see. Okay, you know what? Kate has her legs crossed, and it is kind of weird that well, I don't know. She's real skinny. She could probably do that. But Kate has her legs crossed, and that is that at the very lowest part of that bottom red circle, that is her shoe, the tip of her left leg. Oh no, that's Louis' foot. Oh, maybe she's sitting kind of like side saddle or something. That is amazing that she's so close, that she fit in so close. You know what I mean? I don't know. I'm not sure. I mean, I would think that they have learned their lesson by now. Like, for instance, you would think that William's butter teeth would have been lightened or something, because he does have the yellowest teeth in the picture. But closest second is Kate Middleton. Her teeth are starting to get a bit yellow too. How much butter do they eat? Okay. So far, I am going to clock the left hand. That looks abnormal. It does. I'm going to clock the left hand, but I don't really see much else. And then there was someone who zoomed into her left eye and thought that looked rather strange. Let's see. I can't tell whether Kate was photoshopped in. Okay. That's it. Is that what I'm looking at? Is that what I'm looking at? Was Kate photoshopped in? I think that's what they're trying to say. Okay. You know what? That's what the red circles represent. Was Kate Middleton photoshopped in? Thank you, Legs. Was she photoshopped in there? Okay. That's it. Because there wasn't an explanation with the red circles. There was just red circles. Got it. Got it. Let me see. I'm going to take a look at a couple of more of your comments with this, and then I'm going to go on to the Pandora's box. There's always something about their photos. Actually, any photo that Kate produces, there's always something with it. Nothing says Christmas like a Photoshop pic in a spring flower meadow. This is sheer laziness. Why not take family photo at the Christmas concert? Yes, that's a good idea. Well, you know what? Because they always look so sad at the Christmas concert. But they could just sit down and take a photo. This need to have everything outdoorsy and natural and such, I get it. That's but you don't have to run from the formality either, because this idea that they're a middle class family that just happens to have 6 or 7 residents, you know what I mean? You're just a typical middle class family who has $1 billion duchy, a fleet of helicopters and SUVs and God knows what else. Just a typical middle class family. You know, the royals have been pulling this crap ever since Queen Victoria. Oh, we're just a typical middle class family. Oh, wait, she had a German accent, right? Oh, yeah, wunderbar. We're just is a typical. Oh, never mind. That's even worse. I don't do a good German accent. Yeah. Oh, yeah, we are typical. Oh man. Yeah, that's worse. I tell you, I keep this up, I'm going to start some kind of race riot. All right. So the Pandora's box. It will open Pandora's box. Andrew Pierce reveals why MP's committee will cause mayhem looking into royal residences. He is saying what a lot of people are thinking, and that is there are some left-wing labor people in government that have been given the power to look into royal finances. And Andrew Pierce is giving a very, very stern warning to the monarchy. They coming for you. They are coming for you. They are going to look into not only Prince Andrew, but they're going to look into the Edinburghs. And of course, they claim that William is paying the the market rate for his rent, right? But I don't believe they've ever given us a number to go with that. They've never given a number that goes with the market rate rent theory. So are they paying market rent? Nobody knows. So let me see if I can find the Andrew thing. Andrew Pierce, Pandora's Box. As I feared, there is I have to go another way to get to that. I'm not sure it'll be worth it, but let me see how easy I can find it. Pandora's Box. That's the one thing I neglected to do, was to download that. So give me just a second. It's interesting, I believe. And if I can find it, I will share it with you. Also, do you guys think that it is possible that Andrew Pierce is no longer with GB News because of that thing with Carol Malone? Is that the reason why he's not there anymore?
A powerful committee of MPs is going to look into the royal residences of our esteemed royal family. It's going to open Pandora's box. It's finally allowed MPs to poke their nose into royal finances in a way they've never been able to do before. And it's all the fault of Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor, the former Prince Andrew, and it's all the fault of the senior members of the royal family, who I'm afraid include the late Queen, for not dealing with him a lot sooner. In a nutshell, Prince Andrew, as was, has lived in Windsor Royal Lodge for 20 years, effectively rent-free. Prince Edward and Sophie Wessex live in an enormous house called Bagshot Park. Why do they need that many for a peppercorn rent? And then there's Princess Alexandra, 88, the Queen's cousin. She lives in a beautiful residence in Richmond Park, peppercorn rent. Why are they paying peppercorn rents? Why are they not paying market rents like the rest of us? They've got fabulous resources. The King's wealth is inestimable. Some people say he's one of the richest men in Britain. I don't know how rich he is, but we know their royal family was able to find £12 million, just like that, to pay Prince Andrew's settlement with Virginia Giuffre to keep her quiet in the fallout from the Epstein affair. And now we've got a situation where MPs, many of them on the Labour benches who are Republicans, are going to cause real mayhem for an institution which I love, the royal family, which I think this investigation is going to inflict real damage on the royal family, because some people are struggling to pay their bills, are struggling to make ends meet, and think, how much are they paying for that extraordinary house? And more to the point, why are they living in such fantastic residences? By the way, this investigation includes Prince William and Princess Catherine, who live in a fantastic new house. And guess what? They're supposedly paying a market rent. We'll soon find out. So Andrew Mountbatten-Windsor has got such a lot to answer for. So is his ghastly ex-wife, Sarah Ferguson, and I would export them both to Ascension Island, 4,000 miles away in the Atlantic. Told it's very nice in the winter.
Oh, well, there you go. One of the reasons why they're making so much noise all over the place is because they don't want people looking into the royal finances. That's what is probably happening here, is that the royal finances, they can only get so far with the Sussexes, but still the truth will come out. One of the squatties was nice enough to itemize the Will and Kate real estate portfolio. Okay, so 2011, they were married. So from 2011 to 2013, Nottingham Cottage, right? And then from 2013, Kensington Palace, the UK taxpayers paid £4 million for renovation. And then, of course, their forever home, Admiral Hall. The UK taxpayers paid £1.5 million for renovations. And then in 2022, even though the Queen was obviously, you know, they decided they had to go to Adelaide Cottage. And of course, the taxpayers paid 1.5 million pounds. I'm sure it was more than that because every time this happens, you know, the security has to, the royal protection, their proximity to their address, their residence changes, right? And they're going to have some type of outbuilding or location where they can be close to them. So there is the royal protection within the Great Windsor Park, but I'm pretty sure they layer something on top of that. Because there's no logical way that you can put the whole of Great Windsor Park under lock and key. It's impossible. And then, of course, 2025 Forest Lodge. The Wellses say they'll pay. Well, we'll pay whatever. No, we'll see. They'll pay. We'll see. That's what it says there. So that is their new forever home. So what's missing from this is the property in Scotland. They also have a home in Scotland. I don't know that home has ever had any renovation that the public has had to pay for. But when they're in residence at Balmoral, they're not actually in the castle. They have their own cottage up there, which again has to be maintained, which requires a full-time staff. So this is, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I believe they're at 6 residents now. I believe they're at 6. And then don't forget, William obviously has a place at Windsor Castle. There's no way that he does not stay at Windsor Castle. I just don't believe in a lot otherwise. So that's what they have going on. Jeannie Bond says Kate and William can't ignore fury over new home, but things won't change. She's saying they cannot ignore fury over new home. So yet again, we have another tabloid reporter saying what everyone else is thinking. And that is, it's gone way too far, especially given the financial burdens that so many people are facing right now, that they are just so cavalier about it. They just casually move from one residence to the next, all the while without seemingly without a care to the world. They just do not seem to care. They are not concerned with the appearance of it. And then on top of that, if you want to layer something else onto that, they have changed the landscape around the Forest Lodge. And I get it. I mean, Forest Lodge, I believe, is right on the main road. So they had to block access, meaning that the people in the community have that much further to go. They have to go like a mile out of their way to do certain things. And then there were people in that community that paid to have access to the grounds. They had to close a nature preserve because of Will and Kate. And there was no warning before they actually started doing these things. With just days to go before Christmas, preparations are in full swing up and down the country, including for the royals. The majority of the firm will be spending their festive season, as is tradition, with King Charles at his private Sandringham estate, except for Will and Kate. They've already said they're not going. Um, but before, when Prince William, the Prince of Wales, will be enjoying the start of the Christmas period at their brand new home, Forest Lodge. The big move from a smaller Adelaide cottage on the Windsor estate comes after a tumultuous few years of the Wales family with Kate's cancer diagnosis and subsequent cancer treatment, followed by the news she is now in remission from her cancer. I threw that last one in there myself. However, their fresh start has caused some disquiet among some locals as security measures around Forest Lodge means people living nearby can no longer access vast swathes of oak-studded open fields surrounding the property. A detour has also been put in place for those wanting to visit the yearly Christmas tree shop in nearby Windsor Great Park, but for former BBC radio correspondent Jeannie Bond, these small issues will soon be forgotten about. And she's right about that. Most people will move on from it, except for the people that live in that area. They will probably move on from it. She told the Mirror this will be a special year for the family in their new home, Forest Lodge. Putting up Christmas decorations is always exciting, but decorating a new house is doubly so. However, that's the thing, the new house. Wait until they start looking into it. I'm sure they'll be also be putting up decorations at Anmer Hall in Norfolk, but I wonder whether they'll spend a bit more time as usual in their Windsor home during the school holidays. It must still be fresh and new to them. Why would they need to go back to Anmer Hall if they have this new place? I mean, I know they have the Sandringham Christmas, but I thought they said they weren't going to go. You know, I wonder if Mike and Carol have access to these homes when Will and Kate are not in residence. Do you ever wonder that? William and Catherine must be aware that there is some local disquiet about the diversions around their house, but it was only to be expected, and I'm sure people will soon get used to the longer route and understand the need for security. Sure they will. Meanwhile, preparations won't just be going into decorations. Jeannie Bond believes Kate will also be carefully selecting Christmas presents for the children, Prince George, Princess Charlotte, and Prince Louis. Oh, I wonder if they're going to go to that charity, you know, the one where they brought all the cameras with them last time, that spontaneous trip, the one that she said that the kids made her promise that they could do. As if their kids actually said, Mommy, please take us to the charity so that we can be amongst the great unwashed. But even but even though they could have anything their hearts desire, there could be a catch, Jeannie explained. As for their own children, I doubt whether William and Catherine will be able to resist the temptation to spoil them, just as all young parents enjoy spoiling their children if they are fortunate enough to have the money, which, of course, we know that William, just like Charles, has inherited a billion-dollar fortune from his duchy. So, yes, money is no object. I imagine George will be hoping for some more video games. William has revealed that his eldest son is very keen on computer games. Charlotte will probably be happy with anything sporty. She loves her soccer and gymnastics and horse riding. Just like all the other kids in the UK, she loves her gymnastics and horse riding. She also very keen to dance. Okay. And as for Louis, aside from just wanting his, what is that song? All I want for Christmas is my two front teeth, my two front teeth, my. uh, anyway, as for Louis, he is very enthused about the trampoline. Oh, he ain't gonna have no teeth fooling around with that thing. So maybe a small indoor trampoline would go down well, but I'm sure the parents will come up with all sorts of fun surprises for the kids. This is just a reassuring type of information that most people who are suffering this time of year love to read about. I don't have much, but I'm so glad that Will and Kate, Archie, Charlotte, and Louis, I'm glad they have everything and several homes to put those things. I bet you they have gifts at every residence. That's what they're going to do for Christmas. They're going to go jumping around from house to house to open up presents. Well, so that's it. That's it. Jeannie Bond is of the opinion that it really won't matter. Will and Kate's forever. I mean, Kate and William's forever home. There's Forest Lodge. Look at there. Critics warn Prince William life at Forest Lodge may signal a part-time king era. Well, we know that as far as the royal family is concerned, Forest Lodge is not in an already protected area that they had to spend a lot of money to accommodate the Waleses at this property. It is not inside of that ring of security that already exists at Windsor. So they have to create their own little bubble there. Let's see. Get Orf one's land. Park closed off as well. Yeah, so that represents that forest, not forest, but wildlife. It was a children's wildlife place where children were supposed to get connected to nature. They closed that because of Will and Kate. Well, as far as I know, they still have the Buckleberry, but I think that they're trying to ease her parents into something more regal. I really do believe they're trying to ease her parents in there. Home away from throne. So we always heard at Adelaide Cottage they would not have any live-in help. But as you can see, there are cottages, at least 2 cottages in the rear of Adelaide Cottage, as though there was no help around, like they were this family of 5 with no help there overnight. No, they were footsteps away, right? And then likewise, this is Forest Lodge, right? If you look along the right there, you see that's all I think it's at least 3 cottages on that property. But take a look on the left. As you can see, the road was open to them. See there, the entrance is right there on the main road. This house does not come with one of those long driveways. Now they got trees there for privacy, but it doesn't have like that classic long driveway up to the house. The house is pretty much right there on the street or on the road. I mean, 2 sides of the house seem to border roads that at one time was open to the public. Now, I don't imagine that they closed the larger road there. I'm thinking this other one here at the bottom left, I think that's the one that they shut down. but I'm not sure. And there's probably no way to look up that information because there is another residence right across the road there. So hard to say. But they came in and changes were made. And all at the taxpayer's expense. And these are the things that they conceal. A lot of the expense for the royal family, Republic has done a account using an independent way to do this. They had someone or some accounting firm or whatever. They came up with an amount of $500 million a year just to support the royal family. $500 million a year. So when they say that, oh well, it's only 136 million pounds, and nope. It is 500 million pounds. In some ways, they have as much protection as the first family of the president of the United States, which is a lot, obviously. Because with the president, don't forget, they usually have to protect their main residence, their vacationing residence. If they have a home somewhere else, they're round the clock there, and then of course the people that are protecting these properties, the royal protection officers, they are paying a rental. They're paying for the privilege of protecting them. They have to pay for, like Camilla, the queen consort. They built a security bunker for the security at the Ray Mill. They built their own purpose-built structure, which of course they are leasing the property, the land for that structure from Camilla's estate. See how that works? So not only are they paying for the building, but they're paying a rental. Camilla's not giving up anything, and nothing is free. You know what? I forgot what I had this for. Let me take a look and see what that was about. I'm about to offer the future king some advice, and it is very much his fault for being young enough for me not only to remember him being born, but for me to have been just old enough. Wait, who the hell is this? Oh, okay. Yeah. So she's speaking of William, old enough when the momentous event took place to feel the first stirrings of pseudo-maternal pride in this publicity-owned baby naturally. I want to help. Oh God, this is small. I'm just a good subject proto on that way. Anyway, let's get to the highlighted part. We have seen it in the delightfully informal family pictures released over the years by the Welleses, and the princess's commitment to beige flats whenever possible. And most recently, we are told conclusively in their choice of 16 million pounds, 8-bedroom Forest Lodge in Great Windsor Park with no live-in staff as their forever home, instead of lining things up for a grand relocation in the fullness of time to Buckingham Palace. This is understandable, superficially sensible, and deeply stupid. She said it. If you're going to retain something as essentially bonkers as a monarchy, something born of a belief in the divine right of kings, of the belief that the head of one particular bloodline is God's appointed flesh rep on earth and ultimately exempt from any earthly constraints or judgment. Well, you've got to be consistent. Otherwise, you will start to look mad. Context is everything. Okay, context is everything. The context that exists between the monarch and his people is, we'll provide the tax money, you'll provide the entertainment in the form of esoteric traditions, excesses, and anyway, signs and symbols that we simply cannot get anywhere else. In other words, William needs to work, that they need to show up. To think that modern royalty means a modest royalty is to misunderstand not just the nature of the contract, but also the nature of human envy. William seems to think that by minimizing extravagance, he will appease a potentially angry mob. The reality is that if you go big enough, no one cares what you do. No one can truly comprehend the way of living, so they dismiss it. People envy most strongly, the most dangerously, those who have what seems only just but perennially out of their reach. Well, like I said, they are really tempting people. The extravagance of this whole ordeal, only for them to have to move again. Whenever Charles, goes down into the storm cellar at the St. George Chapel, they're going to have to move again. They're going to have to move again. This is not their last move. But again, as I said, William is doing the most because he believes that when he's king, he's going to settle down. He is going to either listen, Camilla is not going to have Clarence House. I think people would have a fit if Camilla tried to stay in Clarence House. Either Will and Kate are going to go to Buckingham Palace or they're going to go to Clarence House. I believe that they'll end up at Clarence House so that they will have that residence right there in central London. It won't be Kensington Palace. I don't think it'll be big enough for them. I don't think it's fit for purpose. They will have to live between Kensington Palace, Clarence House, and Clarence House is just around the corner from Buckingham Palace. So I don't think it'll matter. Buckingham Palace will be open more to the public. It is going to be more like a museum year round. And that makes sense because it needs to pay for itself. And of course, a lot of big ceremonial stuff is going to happen at the Windsor Castle. So this is really just a waste of money. This whole thing with this Forest Lodge is ridiculous. I mean, if they're going to be in Windsor, then they need to be at Windsor Castle, not in some extended family residence. And they are really testing people's patience, I think. Let me see. I guess the translation is Willie needs to start entertaining the people. Brits pay for it. I mean, that's the deal. Yeah, because this house, Forest Lodge, is really saying that he's moving away from monarchy. I believe that William sees his future as doing these little incremental appearances and not much else. Afro Annie has already made public, however she did it, it was leaked that she is not happy with William avoiding the bread and butter royal duties. And I think he believes that he doesn't have to, that he's going to make these little slow motion videos. He's going to load things on social media and he will be able to be more like Harry. And that is the whole point, is he wants to be more like Harry. That's not going to fly. It is not going to work. I don't know how he thinks that he can get away with that, but that's not going to work. I don't think people are going to stand for it, especially after Labor gets through looking into these finances. He may feel, well, not him, but other people may feel differently about it later. And I hope so. Selfish Prince William and Kate leave locals in tears as public land shuts off at new home. The Wales family recently relocated to Forest Lodge in Windsor, but their move has greatly impacted locals' lives, including two families who have been evicted from their home as a result. You can only do so much stuff like this before it starts to stink. Kate and William's fresh start. Prince and Princess of Wales moved family to new 8-bedroom forever home in Windsor after Kate's cancer battle. You know, they have to throw the cancer in there to bring sympathy with the extravagance. It's sympathy for the sake of the extravagance. They have to do that. Okay, so Kensington Palace, Admiral Hall. Look at how big Admiral Hall is. You would think it was just what you see there in the front, but look at the back part there. Look at how far it goes back. And then behind that, there are some more structures. That is a big property. They only ever show that front. But as you can see, there's a path that lead to the Mews and probably some other cottages. And then, of course, Balmoral. They don't show their house. I've only ever seen their Balmoral house one time. It's not so big, but it's still another property. And then, of course, surely you recognize Adelaide. Now, Meghan reacts to GB News host's apology for repeating lies about her mom. It speaks volumes that GB News removed any trace of that apology within 24 hours, the Duchess of Sussex said. Yeah, it speaks volumes. Well, Sussex Soldier says, it tells you everything you need to know. The apology was not sincere. The racists don't regret anything. They just don't want to be hit in the wallet. I would have gone after their wallet, especially after they removed the video in 24 hours. I spread misinformation on GB News. Now, people have been comparing that face to that of the Grinch, right? Of course, she has some competition with Lady C. Well, you know me, I'm never satisfied, so I went a step further. How about that? You're a mean one, Mrs. Grinch. It's the winch that stole Christmas. That's right. Not the Grinch. It's the winch that stole Christmas. That winch stole Christmas. Yes, it is the prequel to the Grinch. The winch that stole Christmas. You're a mean one, Mrs. Grinch, Mrs. Winch. Oh man. Look at that face. She was not happy to do that retraction. I won't even call it an apology. I'm going to call it a retraction because there was no apology meant at all. Now, as you can see, there is a lifeless, emotionless, is that a word? Emotionless, well, anyway, there is a lump of wax, an inanimate object. No, I'm not talking about you know who. This is a wax figure. I repeat, this is a wax figure. That same wax museum in Germany that created a waxed image of Queen Elizabeth II that caused so much controversy. Well, they're at it again. They have created this. And you know what? They've actually put a little meat on those bones, didn't they? She looks so full and healthy there. She don't look so skinny and scrappy like she does in real life. She looks so ample, blessed. Now the dress, the vampire's wife, the dress still looks cheap. But then again, look who's wearing it. Also, the hair. Something is not quite right about the hair, and I think I know what it is. But anyway, those are the skilled artists that worked on this for, I was going to say for months or even days, but those are the two skilled artists who worked on this for a few hours. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know how long they worked on it, but yeah, they've done a great job. Now, they have given her a great deal of symmetry because we know that Kate has that wonky eye, and then of course her mouth is askew, and so they corrected that. No mouth askew, and her eyebrows have never looked so good. See what I mean? So they took license with Kate's image. They have. Now that's Kate. As you can see, mouth askew, wonky eyebrow. The left eyebrow is up higher. You can barely see it in that photo, but you know what I mean. So yeah, that's the real Kate Middleton, and that's the wax figure. Now, just so you know, the wax figure, the lifeless, void of any emotion. Oh hell, that's both of them, isn't it? Anyway, the wax figure is on the right, and the other inanimate object that really can't seem to think for itself on the left, that's Kate Middleton, lacking in all charisma and personality, just a smile and a wave. And this is what they did to our lamented queen. They actually created a figure and only partially covered her scalp. I don't like it. She looks like oh gosh, who was that actor that's always in different movies? Oh, I can't remember his name. He's a character actor, but yeah, she looks just like him. I think that was so unfair of them to do that. Wasn't very nice. It's so undignified. Don't you think? It is so undignified. You know what wax figure I would love to see? Thomas Markle Sr. Now, they're going to have to get a lot of wax for that midsection. I think they're going to have to use special wooden pegs and create something like a shelf to make that stomach make sense. But I would love to see a wax figure of Thomas Markle Sr. And I want it to be as real to life as possible. 30 pieces of silver, an order of Kentucky Fried Chicken, a case of beer. Very lifelike. That's what I expect from Thomas Markle Sr. If hair is expensive, how do you explain that cheap wig they got for this figure? Look at that. Oh, that's synthetic. Surely that is synthetic. I bet you that one's not, but that other one for sure that is synthetic. Just like the real Kate Middleton, everything is a little substandard. Now, we're going to finish with some brain teasers. Are you guys ready? Here goes. What letter comes after E in English? What letter comes after E in English? Anyone? What letter comes after E in English? Yes, N. Yes, N. You both got it. F. F. It's a trick question because they didn't say the alphabet. They said English. So, yeah, it's very specific. The letter E in English. So, yeah, it's got to be, it has to be N. N as in Nancy. Okay, guess the fruit. What kind of fruit do you see here? This is too easy. Oh yeah, you're right. They would have to reserve that. I mean, if they want William to be anatomically correct, they have to strategically place a wooden peg. Yes. Yes, you're right. Okay. All right. So Hazel was the first, but I'm sure you guys said it all at the same time. Yes, a mango. A mango. Man go. Man plus go equals mango. Too easy. Now, this one is going to be really tough, you guys. How many triangles are in this image? How many triangles are in this image? Oh, this is going to be tough. This is going to be really tough. I won't interfere, but this is going to be tough. All right, you guys got this. How many triangles are in this image? I totally got it wrong myself, just so you know. I totally got it wrong. Are you sure there's only 4? Uh-oh. Uh-oh, are you sure? How many triangles are in this image? I see 4, 4, 26, 7, 9, 13. Well, somebody is very close. Very, very close. I mean, so close that if this was The Price is Right, they'd take home the prize. I still don't see it, but all shall be revealed. Are you guys ready for the big reveal? 39. Yes, that's it. It is 24. Yes, it is 24. What is it? Is it Ecobella? It is 24. I mean, take a look. You guys can see it. Wow, that is very impressive. While some might guess there are as few as 7 triangles, or perhaps 9 for the more observant, the actual number of triangles hidden in this image is a staggering 24. Most folks have noticed the large triangle initially and the top 3 row additional triangles. However, there's a plethora of concealed 3-sided shapes within the geometric image, including 3 more elongated thin triangles that span the shape from top to bottom. The complete answer revealing all 24 triangles can be seen below, or as you can see here to your left. You might kick yourself for missing some of the obvious ones. Yeah, that's true. Totally missed that. How could there be so many? I don't know. I mean, if you're going to count the layers, well, you know what? That should have been obvious. I mean, if you go from the top left to right, that should have been obvious. We should have caught that one. And then, of course, there's a 3 around the very top there. But then after that, I would have stopped counting, but there technically are 24. So, wow, that is very impressive. That is very, very impressive. They say most people won't, they always say most people won't figure this out. So yeah, there you go. Yeah, you were right the first time. Your best answer was the first answer. And then I think you kind of got a little nervous about it, but no, you were right in the beginning. So you still had it. And in 100 years from now, if there's anyone who digs up this Royal Sussex podcast and they go through it and they see this question, they're going to know that only one person got it right. So, yeah, I am impressed. I would have never got that. I would have stared at this thing for a month of Sundays and not figured it out. So, again, congratulations. There are no prizes. Who's more stupid? Who is the dumbest person in this picture? Who's the dodo? This one should be pretty easy. Yes, A. A is the Einstein, the anti-Einstein is A, because A is not only going to take himself out, but he's going to take B with him. At least D is only going to hurt himself. I'm sorry, not D, but C, he's going to be safe. So I think the only one that would survive is D. And the one who does the most damage is A. C wouldn't hurt anybody. Yeah, C is not going to hurt anybody unless there's somebody down on the ground looking up there saying to themselves, I wonder what those guys are doing up in that tree. They so stupid. Now, you can, let me see, can you do within 5 seconds? Oh yeah, so I think we all got that pretty fast. Okay, I think this is the last one. Yes, this is the last one. Find the word paint in 6 seconds. Find the word paint in 6 seconds. Can you find the word paint in 6 seconds? Yes, yes, it is the pink shirt. It is the pink shirt. The pink shirt, you can see it going across the, from left to right. From her cuff of her right hand, where she's holding the brush, all the way across to the cuff of the left hand. You can see there, P-A-I, and then around her collar, the letter N, and then across her left shoulder is the T, paint. You have a great eye. That is perfection. And I'm sure you had it in less than 6 seconds, because we all know that the the comments are on a delay. So congratulations to everyone who got it right. I know it was more people that got most of these right because of the delay. But thank you very much. And we'll have to do some more brain teasers again. All right. And with that, you guys, I am done. I saw this. I thought this was so interesting. Gifts for people who are always cold. I tell you, there's somebody at Amazon that just markets stuff to people. Of course, we have a family member that's always cold and somebody that's always hot. Well, me, I'm always hot. I'm always hot. Although I was having a period when my iron level was very low and I was freezing and tired all the time. It's in the title. Let me see. You're the second person that said that. I think the word pain is in the sentence. Nope, it's across the pink top. Hey, Legs, we were just finishing up here. But thank you all so much. I enjoyed today. And to hell with Tina Brown. She is such a brown nose. She's a brown noser, a bootlicker. She is obviously doing the work of the monarchy. And who needs that? It's just a ploy to get attention for her Substack. Oh, you have hot flashes, huh? Yeah, well, then you need gifts for people who are always cold. I've seen some that says gifts for senior citizens. I've seen one that said gifts for teenage boys. What's another one I've seen? Gifts for people into photography. Yeah, they have a category for everything. Okay, Sussex family, it is been 2.5 hours. Thank you, Poliva Girl. Yeah, I always try to find some. I've been kind of neglecting it lately, but I'm gonna try to make sure we have at least something so we can exercise our brains every day. Oh, and one last thing. If you're interested, I mean, it's never too late, is it? If you're interested in sending, I don't know, a Christmas card or something like that, there's the mailing address for Royal Sussex. A card or whatever. Um, shameless, ain't I? A card or whatever. And then also the other reminder, New Year's Eve, New Year's Eve, even if you can't stay the whole time, do stop by and say hello. For those of us that are going to stay home for New Year's, that includes me, we're going to have to, hang out and wish Happy New Year to the East Coast, which means we'll start at 10:30. We'll do a countdown for the East Coast. And this is like our annual tradition. We're going to spend at least 4 hours saying Happy New Year across the continental United States and Canada. Should be cool. And if there's anybody listening from Mexico, you too. Central America, we're here for you. South America, you're also in our time zone. Except for Brazil. You guys know Brazil is 3 hours ahead of Chicago? How is that possible? 3 hours. It's like you don't realize how far east Sao Paulo is until you look at the time zones. Thank you, Heather Stroud. Good night, Beverly McCaskill. Good night, Hazel Jones. Mashar. Let's see. T-Mac. Is it Tashmac? That's right. I think so. Ingrid Soares. Mary H. Sandra D. Look at me, I'm Sandra D. Do you remember that from the movie Grease? Look at me, I'm Sandra D. Lousy with virginity. Won't go to bed till I'm legally wed. I can't. I'm Sandra D. Watch it. Hey, I'm Doris Day. I was not brought up that way. You got your crush, I guess I'll take the bus. I can't. I'm Sandra D. Oh, man. Stockard Channing, the movie Grease. Sandra D. That was a great movie. I haven't watched it in years. Watch it. Hey, I'm Doris Day. I was not brought up that way. And then, of course, my favorite verse. Keep your filthy paws off my silky draws. Would you pull that crap with a net? As for you, Troy Donahue, I know what you're gonna do. Why do I know the words to that song? Why do I know the words to that song? Oh, you were named after the original Sandra D. Okay. Very cool. Very, very cool. All right. Okay, I think we're good. All right, love you guys. See you next time.